Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I think the biggest, or one of the biggest mysteries currently playing itself out on social media is the murders of the four Moscow, Idaho students. That and what happened to Summer Wells, of course. But the Idaho murders are more current, and therefore we are once again going to talk about it today. I try to exclude what everyone else is saying and only concentrate on what law enforcement is saying. And basically, this is what they said. The two surviving roommates are not suspects and have been cleared. The guy or ex boyfriend they called 9 times before they were killed had been cleared. The guy in the hoodie at the food truck had been cleared. The person who gave them a ride home had been cleared. Now we have found out who the surviving roommates are via social media. And yes, as they were in or at the crime scene, I can believe that it would be relatively quick and relatively easy to clear them or not. So, as statistics prove that they are likely not the killers, and I myself went through all their social media and there was no indication of fights or jealousy, I am inclined to believe law enforcement that they were not themselves physically involved. And I'm also inclined to believe that they also did not put anyone up to it, at least not intentionally. What law enforcement did not tell us is who Hoodie Guy is or was. We are assuming that it is Jack S. They also did not say in so many words whether Hoodie Guy is Jack S. or not, whether he was the person who took them home or not, at least not in so many words. It looked like he walked in the opposite direction, but did he perhaps instead fetch his vehicle and pick them up anyway? Did he have a vehicle there, or did he share the Uber ride to the food truck with them? We don't know. Law enforcement is not telling the public whether Hoodie Guy and Jack S are actually one and the same person. And then the next question, why did he leave for his parents' cabin at 2 in the morning or after 2 in the morning after his encounter with the girl? Hoodie Guy did not look intoxicated, but he left the bar at the same time they did, allegedly. So he must have had a few drinks himself. So if Hoodie Guy is Jack S, why not sleep it off and leave the next day? And if Hoodie Guy is or isn't Jack S, who took them home? Law enforcement did not tell us. What law enforcement also did not tell us is why Kaylee and Maddie called the ex-boyfriend so many times. I know girls and their phones, if they do not get a reply to their calls, they will text. If that is not replied to, they will call again, then text again. Surely they left a voice message after one or two of the unanswered calls. That is what girls do. So I have a feeling law enforcement knows why the girls called Jack Decour, but they are not telling the public. They are also not telling the public how or why they cleared him. Now, if Jack D or Jack Decour, Jack S, Hoodie Guy, and the person who drove the girls home are all innocent, why doesn't law enforcement put the public at ease and give an indication as to why or how they cleared them? And surely they know that even if someone's phone pinged at home, it does not mean they were at home. I'm relatively sure that most people know by now not to take their phones with them if they are about to commit a crime. So why and how did they clear these guys? Do they think it is fair to those people not to tell? because until they tell us why and how, we will continue to speculate. All right, something baffling me is, why did law enforcement say Murphy the dog was not anywhere near the crime scene before, during, or after the crime? Where was he? One can only assume that he was downstairs on the first floor then, because from what I understand, the entire second and third floors are part of the crime scene. So where was Murphy? Was he in Dylan or Bethany's bedrooms? Or was he closed up in, say, a laundry room? And if so, who closed him in? Surely law enforcement must know that much by now. If Murphy was closed up on any of the three floors, who closed him up? Dylan, Bethany, Maddie, Kaylee, or the killer? And why? Did they always do it? Or was there a reason for doing so that night? Why, if what Kaylee's father is saying is true, and I do believe it is, then why was Kaylee's injuries worse than Maddie's? Was Kaylee the target, or did she wake up and fight while Maddie was being attacked? Remember, Zana's father said Zana had defensive wounds. But was she the only one? Did Ethan, Maddie, or Kaylee have defensive wounds? We don't know. Law enforcement only stated one or more had defensive wounds. We are told Kaylee's injuries were worse than Maddie's, but were her injuries the worst? Worse than even Ethan's or Zana's? We don't know. All they said was it was worse than Maddie's. From what I understand and could get from Chris McDonough's videos, the town is not very big, so how did the killer get away? Did he walk away, or did he park at the parking spot up the hill behind the house? Did they bring in tracker dogs? And if so, how far did they track the intruder? Or didn't they have anything to track? There was some snow on the ground, not as much as there is now, but some. Was that making tracking difficult or impossible? What about dash cams, doorbell cameras, security cameras? I would find it hard to believe not one captured anything that night or then that morning. Someone driving out of the direction of the house, or even someone walking. Surely there aren't hundreds of vehicles on the road at 3 or 4 a.m. Surely there aren't hundreds of people walking around in the neighborhood between 3 and 4 a.m. And what about Ethan and Sana? Where were they between the time they left the sorority party and the time they got home? Again, it is a small town. Someone must have seen them. They must have been picked up on a traffic cam or security camera, or their cell phones must have pinged somewhere. How can law enforcement not know after nearly a month? Or do they know and they are just not telling? Yet, even though law enforcement is still asking for the public to provide information, they are not releasing enough to help anybody look. What should the people of Moscow look for? They and we have no idea. What is the point of debunking speculations but not saying why it is being debunked? Before I finished my notes, I quickly went to check social media again to make sure I am updated, as I am indeed 7 to 8 hours ahead, and usually I get my latest and freshest news early in the morning, which is then your day before. And indeed, there was a bit. a guy was arrested for basically DV or domestic violence. He used a sharp object to attack members of his family and ultimately himself. And he had a stabbing, cutting instrument on him when he was arrested. And he is also someone who was previously serving time for second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 years. Interesting. But maybe I am completely wrong. But reading the circumstances of his previous charges, I don't think he has anything to do with this. But time will tell whether the bloke is or was in any way involved. But then, on the other hand, seeing that it is a couple of days since he had been arrested, I do believe that they have already collected his DNA and will soon, if not already, have cleared him as well. Unless, of course, he is guilty. Anyway, as I said, my personal opinion is he had nothing to do with it. But that's neither here nor there. Police also released body cam footage of an incident they were called to the night of the murders at more or less the same time the murders took place. And I'm sorry, I watched it and I cannot tell whether the light is from a vehicle, a flashlight, or a light in the house, or maybe even a porch light. So we don't know. Police are now also looking for a white Hyundai Elantra and its occupants or occupant. So it appears that there may be some direction in the investigation and that they are indeed working hard on the tips they receive. One thing is for sure, whether it was targeted or not makes little difference, because even if there was a stalker, even if this was someone who was angry at one, two, or all four of the students, it does not mean that no one else is in danger. If someone can get so angry, angry enough to kill, he may also get angry enough with someone else, a shopkeeper, a lecturer, anyone, even his own family. The danger is still out there for as long as this guy is still roaming freely. I must also say that I have not as yet had or received any reason to change my mind. I'm still of the opinion that the perpetrator is a male between 18 and 35-ish and is somehow familiar to the victims. They may know him, even if not in their close or immediate circle. Then I also have a feeling that they have come across him somewhere and that there had been previous interaction. Of course, like all of you, I am checking my updates every morning because this is indeed a strange, and very sad case. Okay, people, so until we meet again on the next one, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.